because quickly checking that this is a kind of community we have formed, right, to learn, share, and right, take this community into forward, right? So I mean, AI is a buzzword everywhere, and sometimes it is becoming too costly to go ahead and learn all those stuff. So we thought like it's a kind of free platform where everyone can share, right, some of the topics, some of the things, and then this is the way the community can grow and we can start learning. So last week also we had got quite a few participants, but I think this week, and I can understand, like I was just discussing with Asim, probably we have not chosen the right weekend because most of the people will be going for a vacation, right? Because yesterday was a kind of a festival, and Friday, many organizations, there was some restricted holiday. So we should be kind of taking care of it moving forward. But without getting started, again, it's not a platform that where we can only talk, right? So you can also share your views, of course, like how things are going on in Cognizant on that related topic. And also at any point in time, if are interested in bring some topic up here and would like to share with us, that you are most welcome. Okay, so you can just let Asim know, or maybe just register with your topic, right? And we can create an opportunity for you. And this is the way we all can grow, right? So we may not be always, all of us may not be getting an opportunity to, right, talk in a public platform, but this is a great forum. I'm sure like this is going to grow. We have just started. It's just a second week, and I'm sure like it's going to grow. People have started showing interest. But as long as like we started populating or sharing these videos, I'm sure people will be interested, right, in contributing here. So without wasting further, so let me like quickly go back to the topic and just start sharing my screen. So we'll be having the presentation for around 20 minutes, right, followed by right yeah, a Q&A. And if you want to share anything from your end, right, on the same topic, right, don't hesitate to share, right, at any point in time. And also, if you have any question in between, right, you can also share that as well. Okay. Can anyone confirm you're able to see my screen?
Yes, yes, I can see.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. So, yeah. So our topic today is agile ethics in the age of AI. So last week we spoke about like how the leaders can change their behavior, right, in the agile and the AI space, rather in the transformed AI space or transform agile space. Now, today we are thinking about, right, how we can, because ethics is one of the very important part, right, whenever we are talking about AI, because it is talking with like client data, privacy, security, etc., etc. So how we can take care of the ethics part, right, agile ethics part, especially because in agile, ethics is one of the very important thing, right? We need to be respectful, right, etc., etc. So how can we build in those agile ethics, or how can we transform the agile ethics? How can we keep that going in the new area of AI? That is one of our right major consideration for today. So these are the pointer that we would like to share. We just to give you a brief briefing about right what is all about, and then the three component that we thought about, right, sharing with all of you. That one is the blurring line of the shared accountability, because we keep talking about accountability, who will take the responsibility, where the buck stops, etc., etc. But ultimately, like, is it a still collective responsibility, or is the responsibility of someone, right, in the AI area? Next is unmasking bias in model, the silent saboteur of empathy, right? So this is a very interesting thing, that how biasness can jeopardize the entire model. So even if you are coming up with a very well proven model, and there are a lot of industry example, which I would like to share with you, right, how bias can, right, impact the overall thought process or overall initiative. And finally, the stakeholder responsibility in the AI outcome beyond the technical, like what are the other responsibility of the stakeholders and how empathy can come into consideration. That is something, right, what we want to discuss. And after that we'll go back to you guys, and if you have any other point, right, to share on that context, right, please do share with us. Now, moving on, right, first and foremost thing, that what is the current challenge? The rapid integration of the AI into Agile project has opened up a fascinating yet challenging a new frontier for the ethical consideration. Because whenever we were talking about Agile, we were not only talking about just transactional work, but we were thinking about the mental part of it. Now we know that like there were a lot of talks about psychological safety. So psychological safety comes up with empathy as well, because it's not about only finding fault and right judging a person based on the outcome, but also right opening up, right creating a kind of environment where members are not feeling unsafe or judgmental to right share their point of view. Because if that kind of atmosphere is coming up, then no one is going to right share their thought of. So we are no more right focusing to become a kind of transactional person. Rather, since we are kind of teaching the software that learns, makes decisions, and increasingly impacts the human lives in profound ways. So all the decisions that are taken by the AI kind of having a kind of major impact in our day in day out life. So that's the reason empathy, right? The psychological safety, these are going to be a major factor, right? So but the pressing question at this point in time in this age of right AI driven agile, who is truly accountable for the empathy? Is it going to be a collective responsibility? Is it going to be the responsibility of the product owner, product manager, or a team member, right, or stakeholder, right? Who will be kind of owning that? So if you think logically, there are quite a few examples that we do day in day out work. We know that, like, and we keep telling about these things, that whenever we do agile estimation, right, we cannot say that it is a maths, right? It's not a science, right? It's not always 2 plus 2, because if you really come back with the kind of capacity guideline on an estimation calculation, you may not be getting into the right format always. After that, you need to bring in your knowledge, right, about that person. Whether the person is coming as a fresher, you cannot, like, again, an FT can be a fresher, FT can be a senior. Now, if I just consider that person as an FTE, right, it will be giving me that mathematics. But whenever you are trying to add your own judgment, right, your own empathy, right, consideration, a person is coming back from email, a person is coming back from other project with experience but new to that project. So can we do the same consideration? So this kind of thought process can be built in by the human being. So are all these things can be factored into the kind of AI driven landscape? That is going to be the major concern. So agile principles champion collaboration, transparency, and the rapid feedback. And that is why in some of the cases, whenever we are coming up with the POCs, people are still skeptical about those things. Is it really going to be empathetic to our customer? What if that customer? A lot of times we go for an exception route. Like I can just quickly share. In the last call also, I was sharing something. I was having a problem with a credit card right balance amount, and it was not my fault. I was complete always paying the right amount on the same time. Now what happened in the month of, I think, April, there was a renewal charge got accrued, and I was not looking into it because I was pretty sure I did not do any purchase. Now, so I did not notice on that, right? I was on the verge of closing that kind of account card. So, but after that, after 2 or 3 months, when I was thinking of closing that right credit card, and I went there, I saw there is a right amount of 2,000. I said I was surprised, and I checked all the kind of previous transaction. There was no transaction made by me. Then I called the call center. Initially, it was routed to kind of AI person, and he or she, whoever it is, or it, right, was only focusing on certain questions. If you just give answer to anything else than that, it is not going to understand. It's clearly saying, I'm not understanding your question. And it keeps on repeating the same question, same question, same question. It does not make any sense to me. So the point is, right, whenever we are coming up with some real type of challenges, and many people can have different type of challenges. So how many case studies you can fit in really? Now, there can be some right trivial things, right, which definitely AI can work much faster than the human being. But what about some unique cases like these, right, where you need to go for go for a little bit of different things. And then when I spoke to the call center person, what she did, she immediately waived off my right late payment, and she said just only pay the right renewal amount, and that makes quite sense to me, right? So these are some of the challenges that we are facing right now. So I just give one example. Now, what is the right problem with the right shared responsibility? Now, whenever we are talking about shared responsibilities, right, or accountability, so accountability is mostly distributed across the team. Now, it is not only the, like we say that, okay, testing is the responsibility of the development team, but what about the overall responsibility? Is it only restricted to right development team? Not necessarily. Now everyone has the right their own way, right, how to right, take the responsibility. Now, if I consider, right, data scientist and the engineer, right, what do, right? So they build and train the model, curate the data, and define the algorithm. They hold immense power in shaping the AI worldview because they are dealing with the data, and there can be structured data, unstructured data, and that's the reason, right, the demand of those, right, data scientists are continuously increasing. Now, the next part comes into the product owner and the business stakeholders. Now, they are the people who are defining the AI, setting the objectives. Now, the question is how to define the persona. Now, that is one of the area, major area. How many personas we are going to consider? Are we going to consider all type of persona? Now, typically, if you go to the product management view, there is something called empathy mapping. Now, can we set up a proper rule? Okay, how many personas we are going to create? How many market segmentations we are going to create? How many user segment we are going to create? Now, these are some of the challenges which are right knocking our door. The next thing is the overall, the very common one, that is the agile team. And the most important part that we all know, the individuals and interaction over processes and tools. So the agile teams are right known for their cross-functional and collaborative nature, that they can freely ask questions, scrutinize, and raising concern about the ethical implication of the AI design and the deployment. Not always whenever we are doing the estimation, you cannot, that's the reason no estimation, right, model can be foolproof. In our CGI also, we are coming up with different estimation model. That does that mean that you are not doing any curating on top of it? Can we really trust on that estimation model and go forward without making any changes? Answer is no, it cannot be like that. On top of it, you will have to do some manual intervention. Then where is AI going? Then the other things, right, executives, right, stakeholders, and the end users, right. I'm not going into the detail of it because of the time. So the accountability in AI, right, driven agile is a shared endeavor. So it's not a kind of a single person responsibility. The point is, it is the responsibility, right, of many people. Now coming to the right biasness, right, when we talk about, just a moment, yeah. So when we talk about the biasness, now I would like to, right, give some example. We all know about the DG Yatra, right? DG Yatra, you know that. Now the DG Yatra is having a problem, like initially was having a problem with the Northeast people. Why? Because whenever you are going to take your facial, right, picture, it'll first tell you like take off your specs, try to, right, open up your right eyes, etc., etc. But we know that by genetic part, right, so they are Northeast, like eyes are little bit, right, smaller in nature. So then they are failing to, right, recognize that face. So if you're taking that photo like this, like with an eyes wide open, and whenever you are going for a kind of right validation in the subsequent gate, they are facing a lot of problem. And there are many other examples, right, around that. So let me give an example. So let's say, and bias is not a bug, right? It's a mirror. It's a reflection of what is working and not working. Now, I can just give an example that, right, a MIT study done in 2019 shows that the commercial facial recognition system had error rates of 34.7% as compared to 0.8% for the lighter right skinned men. So that 34.7% for the darker skinned men. Now, this disparity highlights, right, how AI can be disproportionately misinterpret or marginalize, right, certain groups. And there can be, right, different other type of things, like if you go for a, we always go by the, right, old data, because, right, generally the AI is based on the data. So maybe one college was doing pretty good, so the recruitment and the hiring manager has that kind of biasness in their mind, that okay, this person, I mean, this college has been doing very good, so we will go there and we'll take the data. But there may be a lot of other colleges who are emerging with very good student and very good faculty, very good, right, chapter division, syllabus division. So why don't we go ahead and do there? So there are many examples, right, of that biasness. So how can we handle this biasness in the, right, real time situation? So the first thing is called scrutinize data sources. Where does the data come from? What is the authenticity of the data? What inherent biases might it contain? So you need to be very clear about that. Then implement bias detection and the mitigation strategy. So what tool you can just do, or what algorithm you can just put to reduce the bias in your model. That's a very important thing. And that happens with doctors, that happens with, right, many other, right, domain or the industries as well. Foster diverse teams to use diverse data set. Now, teams, right? So the diverse teams are more likely to identify and challenge biases that might be overlooked by a homogeneous group, the similar type of group. So we know that Jadavpur University or IIT or NIT is doing very good. So focus on that. So it is not like that, right? And we have seen that if you can just get, always we cannot say that okay, all computer science right team members are doing coming good. So if you have a diverse population, you can see that your result can be pretty good, right? And that was right. That used to be sometimes some strategy of various recruiters. Continuously monitor and evaluate. No need to explain. Include bias audit in every sprint. Very good. Very important. Now, so far this has not been done. So if you are having a particular focus on a certain area, right? We are going to take like we already do that. If you know that we are typically biased with a kind of front end story demonstration. Why? Already safe or many other scaled agile model has right busted that myth that it is not only the right front end story which are to be demonstrated. Any type of story, enabler, infrastructure, back end, front end, right, doesn't matter, right, should be demonstrated provided the PO is looking for that. And this is also kind of biasness in our mind, a kind of preconceived notion that the PO can only judge the front end stories but not the back end or the any other stories. Involve ethicists or domain experts in backlog grooming and the sprint planning. Now, PO may be having a different hat also. Now, so far they have been a kind of business analyst mindset with some agility practice. Now they have to be ethical as well. Or that portion should be kind of factored in whenever we are going to do the right backlog grooming or the sprint planning activity. The last portion, right, where we are coming up, right, is called about, right, whenever we are talking about the stakeholder responses, right, very very important, right? How can we handle that situation? Now, first and foremost thing, the responsibility of the empathetic AI, right, extends for beyond the technical team. So apart from doing the transactional work, you need to think empathically. Now, you know that during our appraisal or during our any evaluation, we are coming up with a lot of data point. But the question is, now I'm sure like you are a veteran, right, in the industry. All of us are veteran in the industry. Whatever the data comes in, are we really believing on that data only and doing all the decision during the appraisal or promotion discussion or a salary improvement cycle decision? Then the things would have been very, very fair. Now, on top of it, right, we come up with a lot of other things which I do not want to share for the confidentiality. I'm sure you know about it. When this kind of discussion happens up, right, we try to come up with a lot of. So here also some biasness comes into picture sometime. A person who is right showing his face and always interacting, right, not, I mean, and another person may be like very focused to the work but not getting an opportunity to collaborate, which is not, I'm not saying it is good, right? But sometimes I have seen that those days are getting penalized because they are not very extrovert in nature. So these are some of the right challenges which we need to right tackle. So understanding the why, very important. What this AI, what the problem AI is trying to solve and for whom. Are we really considering the unintended harm to the vulnerable? That's precisely what I was coming up with. There may be some people who are maybe coming from a right rural background and they are not very outspoken. I know that it may not be a long lasting impression that they are going to create, but for at least even for a 1 or 2 year also they are getting impacted. That is not a fair thing. Defining ethical guardrail, very important. So collaborating with the agile teams to define the boundaries, risk tolerance, and what constitutes unempathetic or the unfair outcome. Till what point we can consider, right? Where can we draw the line that person is a kind of non-performing, or right where we can go ahead and do the escalate. Okay, if the person is not meeting the just the goal, let's go ahead and escalate. No, that may not be the right thing. Sometimes empathy comes into picture. Instead of just going and escalating something, if you can have a conversation, have a coaching conversation with the person, that sometimes may help. Because you never know, just by doing an escalation, you never know what is going on in his mind, maybe what is going on in his family, correct? So prioritizing human centric design is another area, like we talk about UI, UX, etc., etc. But when we talk about designing with empathy, right, AI should augment human well-being, not undermining it. In fact, in some of the cases, you know that very well, that whenever now these days designs are coming up with, people are considering different type of disabilities as well, right? Whenever they are coming up with the design, so they're trying to come up with the color right, structure, etc., everything, the standard, all these things are also considering that person may have a disability. In that case, what can be the look and feel, etc. And finally, engaging into the right transparent communication. So build the trust by explaining how decisions are made and how they can be contested. Now, this is one area which I would like to maybe spend a 1 minute. So I was working with IBM for 15 plus years. Now, in some of the situation, right, naturally I was a people manager, and I cannot right give everyone a major hike. But this is something like which people used to take it a hush manner, right? So they were not right, disclosing it, always considering it's a confidential thing. Now, apart from the figure, I always used to have a right discussion with the team member that see, if I have all the power, I could have given you that. Let me explain you the process. Because you may be thinking that Shubhoda is not giving me the money, giving someone else the money. Shubhoda, if if he's right thinking about, he can, I mean, if he wishes, like he can give the money to everyone. No, it's not my money. So let me explain you what is the or how the right appraisal process goes. Every year I used to do that because there are new inclusion right in the team. I used to say that say this is the process, and I'm sure like you are also going to learn the same whenever you get into a kind of people management role. To my team member, I used to say, so see, this is the right I mean the bell curve fitting. Now I cannot give everyone the best. I cannot give like I have to distribute it, and you tell me if my right judgment is wrong. And I used to take the feedback from everyone that what do you think? Who should be given this? Who should be given that? Etc. And then I was seeing that okay, whether there is any difference in my, and I used to discuss with my project lead as well. Now why I had to take this kind of decision. And also many times I used to say that, see, this is the, let's say, XX percentage of amount I have received. Now you tell me how can I distribute? If you want it to be distributed evenly, I can do that. If you want, right, like in that person, what will happen? The person who has done very good will be kind of penalized. The person who has not done good will get, right. Are you okay with it? Or you really want by the kind of merit of the kind of people? So in that case, what I've seen that I'm not saying I'm a perfect manager, but I've seen that like there was as such in my right 10 years of people management career, I never saw any disagreement or any escalation right in that case. So transparency is something good, but also how you want to communicate, that is very important. So in AI infused agile project, everyone becomes a stakeholder in their outcome, not just by business success, but in ethical integrity. Last slide for today. Now we all know that code as a deliverable, we know that testing as a deliverable, we know that right many things as a deliverable. Now these days very important empathy as a deliverable. So by embracing the right shared accountability, confronting biases, and elevating empathy, agile teams can do much better things right than they are doing today. Right, embracing of course AI. So couple of suggestions here: conducting user story mapping right with ethical persona. Yeah, I'm sure you know about what is a right user story mapping, but with an ethical persona, like the persona with some ethical consideration. The next thing is running empathy driven retrospective to reflect on the AI decision. So it's not about just finding anyone as a scapegoat, but also try to understand what might have gone wrong. Try to show your hand, try to help each other, right? To make sure that you are not only successful, you may be having some free time. Why don't you go ahead and share your expertise to person who is lagging, and then he can also grow or she can also grow. Creating AI ethics user stories such as a user, I want the AI to explain its decision so that I can trust it. Because at this point, it is just a black box. Why? On what basis? What calculations, right? So me and Asim were discussing about like some of the algorithm part also. So what is the right algorithm behind the scene going on? No one is knowing it. They are just seeing the outcome. So the future of the agile is not faster, but it is fairer as well. So with this, I'll stop. I'll just pass to you, Ashim, if you have any other point to share, right? And after all, then we can go to Amrish, and Amrish, you can share your views as well.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Shubha, for the insight of agile ethics in the AI world. So it's very informative. So I don't have anything much on this topic, as you have well explained all the different areas. So it
But
was good.
anything that you have experienced, Sim, right, in your, you have been like a veteran in the AI part as well. Have you experienced any of these things, right, in your area and how you handle that situation?
So far, a couple of things we have means like I have not experienced
Mm-hmm.
exactly, but the thing is that one example what you have provided of DG Yatra,
Mm-hmm.
so those that's a common one which I haven't got, but in practically so far I have not faced anything.
Okay.
Probably I'll not able to explain much on that part.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no worries. Amresh, anything you wanted to share?
Yeah. So, Subhath, thank you very much for this insightful session. Actually, see, I am not explored more on the AI as of now because in my
Mm-hmm.
company, it's we are just beginning, okay,
Okay.
and mostly there are some constraints where we cannot go and use any of the AI tool in the market.
Okay.
We, as a company, we are developing our own tools
Okay.
related to the similar tools. So
Mm-hmm.
in that stage, so in agile projects, we have not used much. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, what I understood is, the point what you brought here is unmasking the bias in the model. So
Correct.
what I understand, this is very, very important because see, AI is a technology, or you can say the tools that helps us to improve our efficiency,
Correct.
whatever work that we are doing.
Right.
But if your data itself is not correct, for example, we generally say garbage in, garbage out, right?
Correct.
So everything depends on your data. So who validates the data? So
Agree.
now that is the major concern, and because of different type of data privacy regulations like GDPR, or now
Mm-hmm.
it's UCRA is coming into picture. So
Mm.
it's very important that what are the data that we are giving to the model, and based on that it's creating its own model and giving us the output. That is very important, and at this moment I feel like still our industry, we have done a great job, but still our AI model is not so matured that it can take care of our emotional intelligence or the empathy
Correct.
what we have brought into picture. So that is very good point, and I fully agree that empathy or you can say agile is something which is purely based on the people. It's
Right.
not like waterfall, how we were using this process and tools much,
Mm-hmm.
but now the shift has changed, and that is one of the value as well. So emotional intelligence is one of the factor that we have to consider as a part of AI. So if
Correct.
I remember you understand, like whenever we create any prediction model, we use that y is equal to function of x, right?
Exactly.
So that
Mm-hmm.
means the output, it definitely depends on the influencing factors. What should be that, I mean, your output should depends on those influencing factors. So first of
Correct.
all, we have to understand, like, one of the X factor of your model should also include empathy, or you
Absolutely.
can say the people.
Absolutely.
If
Precisely.
you bring that into our model, then definitely over the period of time we can see, like, AI can also handle some of the ethical or empathical concepts in agile.
Correct.
So I think I like the quote what we have put it here. The future of agile is not just faster; it should be fairer, right?
Fairer.
So
Agree.
so that is what our main intention of if I see AI for next 5 years or 10 years in agile world, then definitely I would expect that we should have in that stage where AI cannot just give us the data. Based on the data, it should not give the result, rather it should include the people factor as well. Yeah, and I also like the examples what you took, like your Digijatra, or the in IBM, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
appraisal cycle you took. So it was interesting. Thank you very much, Subhash.
No worries, no worries. So keep joining this webinar. Like it's not always a heavy topic, right? Sometimes we'll come up with some basic things also because, as you rightly said, that there are many people, right, who are still not very aware of the basic terminologies as well. So me and Asim were thinking that now we can have one basic session as well, a basic awareness session. Okay, what is now everyone talks about right, generative AI, right, etc.,
Generative
etc.
actually.
AI agent, right? But many people, if you ask the question, they don't know, right? If you ask them the question, okay, what is the chat GPT? They will also not know. What is GPT? They will also don't know. So we were thinking about like a quick session on some of the basic terminologies, right? So that, right, we can have a mass, right, awareness. And then again, we can come back to, right, different type of discussion. So, Amresh, open invitation to you, right? Please keep joining and, right, helping us try to grow as a community. Please share this with your friends as well. And also at any point in time, whenever you think that, okay, you can go ahead and present, right? It's a very open forum, right? None of us are experts, right? We are all learning, right, and presenting it here. So, right, at any point in time, whenever you think that, okay, you want to present something, just go ahead and give us a ping and we will set it up for you. Okay. So just give us
Sure,
like
Subodh.
1 week
Thank you.
before so that we can create your flyers, etc. Right? Because if you're planning to present something, we will give you slot 2 weeks from now so that we can prepare your flyer, right? Getting things logistics ready, and then we can give you the slot. Make sense?
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time. Thank you, Asim. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.